Let's get ready to rumble! Please welcome Errol Samuelson, Chief Industry Development Officer of Zillow Group.
Good morning. Online reviews can hypercharge your business. And this morning we're going to discuss why that's the case and give you some practical tips on how you can use reviews in your business. So if you think about reviews and how we use them in our everyday life, you may have, when you were planning to come here, looked up the review on TripAdvisor for the Hilton. And if you had done that, you would have learned that the lobby was under construction. Or when I got here on Monday night, I went to Yelp and I found a really great Thai restaurant that was within 4 blocks of the hotel. Or maybe when you were packing, you realized you needed some new luggage, you could go to Amazon and see what other consumers were saying about different pieces of luggage and which one might be right for you. So these are relatively unimportant purchases, and yet consumers use reviews. So why not for a purchase that's so important and impactful as a real estate transaction, using a review to find an agent? But the question may be, well, just really how impactful are reviews? Take a look at this stat. A half-star improvement on Yelp will increase the likelihood of that restaurant selling out tonight by 30 to 49%. Just a half-star improvement in that review. But perhaps more importantly, the reach of reviews is increasing. Now, this is a study that's done every year by a third-party independent company. And the question is, how often do you, as a consumer, use reviews? And if you went back to 2011, you'd see there that about 22% of consumers said, I regularly look at online reviews. Fast forward 3 years, and last year in 2014, the number almost doubled to 39%. So over the course of 3 years, the number of consumers regularly using reviews has doubled. And if you put together the group who say, I regularly use reviews, and I use reviews periodically, that's close to 90% of consumers saying, I'm going online and looking for reviews before I make a purchase decision. But perhaps this next data point is the most important for real estate. Consumers were asked, do you trust online reviews? And 88% said that yes, if the review is on a credible website, I'll trust an online review as much as a word-of-mouth recommendation from a friend. Now, when we think about top producing agents, historically, the bulk of their business has come from repeat customers and referrals. This stat tells you that consumers are leveraging that same behavior, but looking at online reviews to decide which agents they're going to work with. Now, reviews have been a tremendous focus for our company over the last 4 years. And in fact, we now have about 1.2 million reviews of agents and of lenders in our database. About 1 million are for real estate agents and brokers. About 200,000 are for lenders. And we ask consumers things like, please give the agent a 5-star rating for things like local expertise, negotiating skills, and so on. And also provide a written review about what you liked when you were working with that agent or with that broker. So how are some ways you can leverage reviews like this? Let me give you a couple of examples. Now, a minute ago, I mentioned going on to TripAdvisor to get a review of the Hilton before I came to San Francisco. But you know, I didn't have to go to TripAdvisor. I could also go to the Hilton San Francisco's own website, and they included the TripAdvisor reviews on the site. We're allowing agents and brokers to do exactly the same thing on their websites. So this is a website for Berkshire Hathaway Home Services in the Carolinas. Here's the listing detail page, there's the agent, and beneath that you'll see her 5-star rating from Zillow and past sides that she's been able to incorporate on her own page, on her own website. Now, you may say, well, this is just a play to get traffic to Zillow, but not really. If you take a look, if you were to click on her 5-star rating, the traffic stays on her website, and a consumer can come in here and see her reviews. So it's the same idea of taking the reviews that used to be on Zillow and making sure that an agent and broker can put them on their own site. And why do that? Well, if you think about it, it takes a lot of time and effort simply to get a consumer to write a review. It's even more difficult to get them to write a review on multiple sites. So we're merging the Trulia and Zillow databases. So one review appears on both sites. And now if you want to participate in this program, you can also at no charge have those reviews appear on your own site. Now, the first brokerage in the country which leveraged this was Windermere Real Estate Services in Seattle in the Northwest. And I wanted to let you see a quick video of Michael Doyle talk about how they're leveraging reviews from the Zillow database on their website. So let's roll that video.
Once you open your eyes to it, you'll see that people looking online for reviews are, it's happening. There's a study that shows that from 2013 to 2014, the number of people that first look online for a review before they purchase went from 87 to 90%. That's over 1 year. So that gap is quickly closing. Online reviews are critical. They're here to stay. Reviews are important to Windermere because we believe in transparency in our community. We believe that we should be held accountable by our community. We believe that we're here to serve our community. And the best way to do it is to essentially expose the body of our work to our community. I believe that when people are considering utilizing me, hiring me to work for them, that I'm best served if they can go and see what other people have to say about me. They really don't care much what I have to say about me, but they care what other people have to say about me. I have gotten new business from reviews. In fact, just yesterday I was in a listing appointment, and the gentleman that I met with said to me, yeah, I received the information that you sent, and I went and looked at your reviews, and they were really great. I don't have that deal signed yet, but I'll tell you what, he knew more about me by reading what other people, and I think that's important, what other people had to say about me than he could have in any other way before I even sat down with him. Just think about how people search now for their next restaurant, how people look for automobiles, how people look for whatever. Think about that, and then think about the scale of the real estate transaction in relation to all of those other things. And you'll realize quickly that the real estate transaction is more important than probably almost all other reviews. It's a bigger transaction, it's a bigger deal, and you'll see how important that they really are.
All right, so let's now put that into practice. So we're honored to have here on stage with us Juju Chala. Juju is a real estate professional from here in the Bay Area. She's been in the business 33 plus years, and we wanted to ask her a few questions about how you're leveraging reviews in your business. So let me just start by asking, when did you first start putting reviews online, asking consumers to give you an online review?
A little about a year and a half ago.
Okay.
About 15 months.
Now, and when you started that, were you apprehensive or nervous about what was going to happen?
No, because I feel I do a really good job.
Right.
So I wasn't scared about asking them for a review.
Great. Now, I think the folks in the audience here might be interested in understanding, how do you go about getting consumers to post a review? So what's your process in getting people to give you a review?
Well, I always go to meet them at the closing.
Okay.
So hopefully 9 out of 10 times they tell me they're very happy with what I've done. And then they always say, well, what can we do for you? And I tell them, well, the best gift you can give me beside other referrals is post a review for me on Zillow. And I will be sending it to you in a week or so after closing. And if you could post it, any questions, give me a call.
Now, that sounds great, but do they always follow through, or do you have to do more to try and get them to post a review?
We follow up with them in about 10 days after we send the first one. We follow up about 3 times. Okay. And then if not, then I make them a personal call. And hopefully we get the review. Okay.
Now, how do you deal with a review if it's not perhaps what you'd like, or maybe it's a bad review? What do you do in that case?
Well, year to date, I've never had that happen to me.
Which brings me to some funny questions for Errol. Errol, one of our concerns in the real estate industry is trying to convince somebody to put reviews in so many different places. And I know one of the things that's bothered me is I have to ask them to go to these 4 or 5 different places. And I heard kind of an interesting announcement the other day was, what's happening with the reviews on Zillow and Trulia?
Right, so we're merging those 2 review systems. So when you enter a review once, it'll go to Zillow and Trulia. And with the program I just mentioned, the Tech Connect program, those reviews can also go on the broker's website or the agent's website as well.
And the way I understand it is if I put those on my website, it's not just going to be a link back to Zillow.
No, in fact, we want that consumer to stay on your website. This is about making sure that the review is entered once and it can appear everywhere.
So I did a little bit of research about our friend here, and I read her reviews. They're all phenomenal. She's sold 72 homes year to date, average price $1.5 million to $2 million, and she provides amazing service. What about those of us out there that have met agents that may not provide good service, yet every time I go to the Zillow reviews, it's all 5-star. Isn't the system gamed a little bit if you don't actually ask a customer that didn't have a great experience to give you a review? Aren't we only asking the people that are happy with us?
We believe it's up to the agent to decide who they'd like to have post a review, so there is the possibility the reviews could be skewed. One thing we put a lot of effort into, though, is making sure the reviews are legitimate. So we have human moderators who read the reviews. We also have software that goes in and takes a look at the wording of the reviews. You can quite easily actually detect reviews that are fake or sort of machine generated. So we make sure that the reviews are real, but we leave it up to the professional to decide who they're going to survey. We think you're better off to survey everyone. The research shows that negative reviews are not necessarily bad for your business if you respond to them appropriately.
Well, Juju's a good example because she has 91 closed sales and she just started working with you guys and she did 85 reviews. But a lot of agents I see on there, you're tracking that they have 100 sales or 150, but they have 5 or 10 5-stars. How do we get the industry to actually be transparent in having actual real reviews, not just recommendations as we see?
I think it's a journey. I think one of the things the consumer will see is if you've got 110 past sides and 4 reviews, I think that alone starts to raise a question in the consumer's mind, what's going on here? But you got to think 2-3 years ago, people didn't want reviews online at all. So I think it's a journey. I think we'll get there. But one of the things I think is interesting is how Juju uses her reviews, not just online but offline. This actually is an example of some of her marketing materials. So she takes those reviews and also puts them in print. So where else do you use reviews apart from just having them show up on Zillow?
When I go for a listing presentation, it's a part of my presentation.
Right.
And I mean, the consumer today checks online for anything they want before they go do anything about it. I mean, to buy a toothbrush, they'll check to make sure it's the right product. So I let them go online and check me out.
Great, that's great.
And now, have you done it on Trulia as well as Zillow?
No, I'm primarily on Zillow.
Why not Trulia?
Well, I have them as a site, but I just had very good. I survey my clientele, and when I meet them on their handheld, 9 out of 10 times they have Zillow.
They don't know what a Trulia is?
No, they do.
They do. But Zillow's the brand that they're...
Right. I mean, just like when you're checking phones, you know
Yeah.
how many have Apple and Samsung, et cetera. So.
Errol, do you think agent reviews are valid? Like, do you think that that they're actual honest representations of the quality of performance you get from a real estate professional?
Yes.
Again, I think it depends on whether or not the agent is asking everyone to provide a review. But I think some of the real value goes into when you read the narrative. So for example, an agent may be perfectly great for working in perhaps high-end properties or vacation and second homes. Maybe if I'm a first-time home buyer, they're a great agent, but they may not be right for me. So when you read the narrative, you'll see someone say, I'm new to the process, I was a first-time home buyer, I didn't understand anything, and this agent really helped me. So I think part of it for the consumer is digging deeper into what the other consumers are actually saying.
One of the concerns of the industry is that Zillow wants to get all of our traffic and our contact information, and now that you guys are buying .loop, that now all of a sudden you want all the information that we have, and you're going to use this as some evil plan to erase the real estate industry as a whole. And the reason I bring that up is because at 11:45, as I understand it, Brad Inman is interviewing Austin about the .loop dirt. I want you guys to make sure that you stick around at 11:45 and hear Brad ask Austin the dirtiest questions, the toughest questions that he can to understand what is Zillow going to do with our information. And thank you guys for both joining us up here today. And you're an amazing agent, and just it's such a pleasure to get to know backstage. And Errol, thank you for sharing that information with us today.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Thanks.
Thank you.